We've had a highlight, I think, from the kickoff of every goal so far. Huddard makes a fantastic save. I do hope it's not going to become a cursed position. I've just broken everything, I think. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 36 of One Team, One Dream, Into the Woods. My name is James, and on today's episode, we have two matches in League 2. First, we are at home against Swindon Town, followed by an away trip to Scunthorpe. Now, we've come on a little bit further than I said I would do in the last episode, and if we actually look at the run-in, the two matches I said we'd come back for were going to be, the Wrexham and Colchester. However, jumped on a little bit further because I want to try and rumble through this season a little bit quicker than we have the previous ones. But all has been going well so far. So the last episode we had was the 3-0 first game of the season at home to Stevenage, followed by the 2-2 draw against Southend. We followed that up with a dismal performance against, understandably maybe though, Championship Brentford. We lost 4-1 and went out of the Carabao Cup. However, we then faced Tranmere at home in the league and beat them 4-1. And we've only lost once since then, which was a 2-1 loss away to Exeter. And as you can see, one thing we're not short of is goals. And this man in particular has definitely picked up the mantle this season. Martel Taylor-Crossdale so far has 8 from 8, 2 assists, 2 Player of the Match awards and a 7.59. His partner in crime hasn't quite got going yet in the same way that he has. But if Taylor-Crossdale carries on the way he started, he is in for a record season. Also, since the last episode, we had a couple of extra transfers. We've had the end of the transfer window. 2 more transfers have come in. First one is Jordan McNeef, who is a 22-year-old Irish universal midfielder, I'll go with. He's mainly an attacking midfielder, but he can play anywhere in midfield. He can also play, apparently, as a striker as well. 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. Like a number of the players I brought in over the summer, doesn't quite have the star ratings that he did originally when we scouted him. But we haven't paid anything for him. He's come in and valued at 40 grand straight away. He used to be at Arsenal. He's played a couple of games. Again, not ripped up any trees, but he's come off the bench a couple of times. And then the final transfer of the transfer window was John Yeats. Now, this was one of only 2 players that we actually paid money for over the transfer window. John Yeats is a 18-year-old Scottish striker. This guy I am very excited about. One thing we are not short of at this club is striker prospects. And this guy just adds to that selection. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. We bought him for 54k. I did say I'd spend some money if we had a good option. We didn't get any options necessarily in the areas we were looking to strengthen, but when this guy came up on the scout report, I couldn't help but take a bit of a shot on him. He comes in from St Mirren, where he's never played a game there, but he is now playing along in our under-18 to try and get some fitness. But if we look at his coach report, he comes in as the 4th best striker at the club, along with Daly and McKinnon. And so we've now got a number of backup options, so we should never be short for strikers if, God forbid, Fagan or Crossdale get injured. We had no more outs for the transfer window, other than a few players that have gone on loan, a couple of youngsters, players especially like Dion Jones, who's just come in this summer, has now gone out for a little bit of experience with Wealdstone. So I'll be keeping an eye on those players throughout the season to see how they get on. So with all of that, we currently sit 3rd in the table, just 1 point off the top. Obviously, it is very early on in the season, but we play a number of these teams around us over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we're placing Scunthorpe today. We also do play Cambridge in the next couple of weeks. We've just played Yeovil and got a draw, and Exeter was the only loss in the league that we had in that run of games since the last episode. So it shows that it's going to be a tough season, I think, if we want to try and push for the automatic promotion spots. But based on how we've done so far, I think it should definitely be doable. So let's get into the first match of the episode today as we welcome Swindon Town to Meadow Park. And I think this will be now, the 4th or 5th game that we've had the same starting 11, bar 1 or 2 tired legs. So we have Huddard in goal, a back four of Devine, Kirk, Tricker and Hosanna. Adebayi, McDonnell and Mundell are the central midfield. Lewis, the attacking midfielder. And then the partnership of Fagan and Crossdale. One thing I did say earlier was that Fagan hasn't got hasn't got off to a strong start this year. I mean, he's still got 5 goals in the league. 5 goals in 8, a 7.07. So I think with eight games in, 16 goals between the two strikers is definitely a very good return, and I hope they will continue that throughout this season, because their goals are going to be vital if we want to be near the top of the table come May. And we have a highlight here on 7.5 minutes. Swindon have a corner in the middle to Drury. Yates is free in the penalty area, goes past Huddard. That was far, far too easy. That is one thing I have found, especially the last couple of games, is as much as some of the scorelines have looked like they've been very easy wins, the goals that the opposition have scored have not been late consolation goals. They have been early lead goals, and they've all been conceded far too easily and far too quickly. But from the kickoff here, we lose the ball to Swindon. Swindon now bring the ball forward with Green, looking for a quick double to Richardson, to Drury, who I believe got the assist for the first goal. Now back to Green, back to Drury. Drury whips it in. Emery is now free in the space this time. Sorry about that. Had somebody at the door. Just as we concede our second goal, I'm hoping it's going to be disallowed. I don't think it's going to be. Another assist for Drury. It's almost replica of the first goal. Drury has the ball here. Pass it to Green. Given loads of space. Puts it through. Emery is just free through. Who is that on the left-hand side? That is Kirk. Twice now Kirk has been left behind. Howie's only on a 6.5. He should be on worse than that. Right, I'm going to berate them. Let's go... No, actually, no, let's encourage the players. I don't want to berate them necessarily. We're only 10 minutes in, which is baffling, the fact that we're 2-0 down after 10 minutes. But Hosanna chipping the ball forward, trying to find Taylor Crossdale. He can't, unfortunately. Swindon are bringing it forward again. Kirk manages to collect the ball to Devine. Devine with a big ball forward this time to Crossdale. Free in the penalty area. Can he get one back? Crossdale doesn't react quickly enough and allows the defender to get back into space. Mundell back into the centre. I think that was deflected off of a Swindon defender. Out for a corner. We want to try and get a goal back as quickly as possible. On 10-minute mark, ball whipped into the centre. Unfortunately, goalkeeper George for Swindon clutches the ball to his chest. And Swindon looked to try and build a counter-attack, but we had the ball back with McDonnell, to Devine, to McDonnell, to Mundell, to Crossdale. Chips out wide to Adebayo's in a little bit of space. Back out wide to Hosanna. We are going pillar to post at the moment. Hosanna, very poor pass. Unfortunately, can only find a Swindon defender, but we've managed to get the ball back again. Lewis to Fagan. To Adebayo. Something's got to come from this. Fagan to Lewis to Crossdale to Fagan. Oh, and it's offside. That must have been very close if that was offside. Linesman wasn't even flagging. Referee must have given that. Fagan to Lewis. I mean, we're talking millimetres. That is a very, very, very iffy decision, I think. With 20 minutes gone, we desperately need a goal back before half-time. But Swindon have another throw-in. Emery to Richardson. Coming down this right-hand side yet again. Green. Devine wins the ball back. Tries to find Fagan. Unfortunately, can only find a Swindon defender. Back with the Swindon goalkeeper. Kicks it forward. We do win the ball back though to Lewis. To Crossdale, who's in space. Can he get a goal back? Yes, he can. Number 11 for the season. Lewis gets the assist. That's what we needed. That's all we need to worry about. We might have a leaky defence. But as long as we keep scoring the goals, we can hopefully keep the points racking up. And we do have a highlight straight away from the kickoff. We've had a highlight, I think, from the kickoff of every goal so far. Swindon are coming forward this time. Hopefully this is not them pinning us back yet again. Yates is in the centre. Huddard makes the save. Out for a corner for Swindon Town. Barjonas with the corner whipped into the centre. Kirk manages to clear it. Lewis is chasing it out. Unfortunately, he can't get there ahead of the Swindon player. He's bringing it forward. Great tackle by Lewis. Goes out for a throw-in. Swindon Town with a throw-in. Only 23 minutes still gone. And Yates is in the centre. And that makes it 3 for Swindon. What is going on in defence with us today? We have been playing so well the last couple of weeks. And as soon as I press record, our defence falls apart. I mean, we're going to be having words at halftime. I don't want to see the replay. Right, I berated the players and we're going to go attacking, and we've got a highlight on 36 minutes. Mundell with the ball. 1-2 with McDonnell to Lewis. Out wide to Huzano, he's in a little bit of space. Can he find the cross? He finds Fagan at the front post. Unfortunately, the defender manages to get there as well and blocks the ball. And it is cleared away. As we come into half-time, 3-1 down at home, which is a disgraceful performance in that first half. Especially if you look at the stats, we should be ahead. Swindon have had 4 on target and scored 3 of them. I mean, I'm not going to throw the bottle, but I'm going to thrash my arms. Pride is at stake, yep, exactly, and letting themselves down. Absolutely disgraceful first half. Swindon have a free kick to Yates, who's already scored in this game. Back to Bar Jonas, 1-2 with Yates. Passing it between themselves in the penalty area. Luckily, we managed to block it. Hosanna with the ball. Can we enact a counter-attack? Hosanna with a big ball forward. Only finds a Swindon player, though, and Swindon look to bring it forward yet again. Yates is in space. Turns his man in the penalty area. Huddard, though, stands up and knocks it out for a corner. Swindon with yet another corner in this game. Bar Jonas to whip it in. To the back post. Kirk is there first, luckily, and manages to clear it out. But Swindon have the ball back in again. Kirk yet again with another clearance. We're managing to clear the ball, but we can't do any more than that. We are losing the ball so easily. But Fagan with a wild pass there, trying to find Crossdale, smashes it off the top of his head and off towards the goalkeeper. Swindon have the ball yet again and they're coming at us. They have been relentless in this game. We have nothing to say about it. Yates threw into the centre. Luckily, the Swindon player there hits the post and goes out for a goal kick. Right, 62 minutes gone. I'm going to make some wholesale changes. Adebayi is not having a very good game. Let's push McDonnell out wide. Let's put Hazeman back there. Hosanna's not having a very good game either. Let's bring on Reedy or Reddy. Not sure which one it is. I'm sure I'll decide on one eventually. But we have a highlight here with Swindon with the ball. Kirk manages to clear it as far as Fagan. Fagan heads on to Crossdale. Unfortunately, Crossdale can't get to the ball before the Swindon player. So he's now back with the Swindon goalkeeper. Out to Green. Drury. Drury's been a thorn in our side today. Green with the ball now. Out to Richardson, who's got a load of space. He's been getting all the space in the world into the penalty area at the back post. Luckily, Huddard is equal to it. Manages to make the save down to his right-hand side. They have Swindon have a corner. Whipped in the centre. Is that a penalty? We've conceded a penalty as well, just to add insult to injury. Yates with the penalty. Huddard makes a fantastic save. Huddard is on form today. Bar the 3 goals they've already scored. Bar Jones with the corner, whipped into the centre. Manages to clear it. Mundell manages to get the ball, and that ends the highlight. 70 minutes gone. We need to make some more shouts as well. Let's go very attacking. And that's 10 minutes. Let's make another substitution. I'm going to take Fagan off. Let's bring on Daly. Try and freshen things up front. Hope that brings a little bit of a spark. But it's what I said about Huddard, about Fagan. He's been a little bit on and off, even with his 6 goals so far this season. Swindon have the ball though. Mundell manages to clear it to Crossdale. To Daly, who's on the end of the ball. He's in the penalty area. First highlight on this episode today. And he could have made himself a bit of a hero there. Unfortunately, it is too little too late, I think. We are ticking down the time. We're now in injury time. It is going to be a home loss. Our first home loss, I think, of the season. Crossdale somehow ends up with a 7.3, even though he only scored 1 goal. Very poor performance from us today, especially as it stated at the beginning, before the match, that we were expected to win this quite comfortably. Do you know what? I'm going to throw the bottle. It's not good enough. That was a terrible performance, and I would not stand for that kind of performance from these players. Let us hope that is a one-off blip. But we now have to go away to Scunthorpe. Both teams are on the back of a loss. Hopefully we can take advantage of that. Kirk is set for a pay increase after that performance. I don't think he quite deserves it, if I'm honest. He better make up for it in that next game. Here we are for the second match of today's episode away at Scunthorpe. And what a week it has been in between the 2 matches. We have a slightly different looking starting 11 because we have a number of injuries. Biggest of which is Ricky Fagan, who twisted his ankle in training. He's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. Hopefully it will be the former rather than the latter, and he'll be back sooner rather than later. We also lost Hazeman, Lewis, and Tizard to injuries as well. Lewis the only starting 11 out of those three. And I believe it was only food poisoning, I think it was. So he's going to be returning to fitness immediately. But being the fact he's not fully fit, I'm going to leave him out of today's game. So this means that the team for today's match is Huddard in goal, a back four, Devine, Kirk, Tricker and Hosanna, Adebayo, McDonnell and Mundell in central midfield. Robson comes in to the attacking midfield role to replace Lewis. And we have a new striker partnership of Yeats and Taylor Crossdale. Yeats coming in for his debut, but has already played 4 games for the under-18, scored 4 goals and got 2 assists with a 7.88 average rating. He does anything near that in this game, and he is definitely going to give me something to consider when it comes to who is on the bench, him or Daly. So let's get into the game. I have to get a squad number for Yates. Let's give him, I don't want to give him number 13, let's give him number 36. The coveted striker number, as we all know. Right, those injuries do make me a little bit nervous coming into this game. I'm going to pump the fist. There's a great opportunity to show all the pundits that they have the right to back you up. That is a good team talk. Yes, I was a little bit nervous coming into this game. I'm glad if it was going to be one of the strikers, I'd rather Fagan was injured than Crossdale, because Crossdale's definitely been the better striker, although not by much. Both have still played fairly well this season. And we have a highlight after 8 minutes. Ball comes into Crossdale. Out to Mundell. Back into Crossdale. Is in the penalty area. Watson, the Scunthorpe goalkeeper, collects the ball. And Scunthorpe are now going to look to counter-attack. Big ball forward. Tricker manages to collect it, though. Terrible pass, though. Straight back to Scunthorpe. Now it looks like they're going to come forward with Gilead out on the right-hand side. Whipped into the centre. Both central defenders managed to clear it, but only as far as Scunthorpe yet again. Back with Gilead. Into, I'm not even sure how to pronounce that name, but Bernard now has the ball with suspense to Hullum to Pritchard. This is going to end up in a goal. Luckily, the shot from Scunthorpe was absolutely terrible, and it came to absolutely nothing. Very early on, we've had a couple of worrying highlights. We've won the ball back from Scunthorpe though on this one. Taylor Crossdale to Yeats, looking for his first touch on a highlight. Hosanna with the ball now. Whip forward, Yeats. The Crossdale's in the penalty area for number 12. Martel Taylor Crossdale makes it a dozen for the season. Only 10 games into the season and puts us 1-0 up. Any initial nerves in this game have definitely been settled a little bit there. Hosanna with a great ball forward. Yeats left it, whether purposely or not, but it came through to Crossdale, who made no mistake. Scunthorpe have a throw-in on the left-hand side. And is that meant to be... Is that handball? McDonnell handballs the ball. Gets a booking, and they get a penalty as well. Huddard managed to save the penalty in the last game. Can he do the double? 2 games in a row. He cannot. He goes the wrong way, and Scunthorpe have been given a ticket back into this game very early on in this second half. As we know, handballs are a very sort of contentious issue in football. I didn't see clearly enough whether McDonnell did actually handball it or not, but it doesn't matter. It was a penalty. And Robson is now injured as well, just to add insult to injury. Literally. Robson's going to come off. McNeef is now going to take the spot. That's 2 of our 3 attacking midfield players that are now out injured. I do hope it's not going to become a cursed position. We have a corner with McDonnell, who conceded the penalty. Whip to the back post. Can't find Yeats though. And Pritchard is free. Coming forward for Scunthorpe. They're going to counter-attack. Is this going to be another quick double? 2 games in a row. Pritchard with a ball into the centre to Alomaloa. However you pronounce his name. Doesn't matter. He scores his second. And a quick double. And we've gone from being ahead in this game to now being behind very quickly. We're only 30 minutes gone. We cannot defend to save our lives at the moment. It is actually disgraceful how poor our defending is. How Hosanna has a positive rating, I don't know. But coming in at half-time, this is not what I was expecting or hoped. I'm not going to say we're unlucky. I'm going to thrash my arms. I'm far from pleased. Let's berate the players. McDonnell has a corner, whipped into the centre, looking for Kirk. Kirk hits the crossbar. Back out to McDonnell. Can he get the ball in for a second time? Yes, he can. Back to Tricker. Into Yates. 1-2 with Yates for some reason. To Kirk. Why the centre-backs are trying to cross the ball in. Kirk can't get it past the first man. Gilead now is going to play it forward. We have no defenders back. Luckily, it doesn't come to anything and the highlight ends. Right, 60 minutes on the clock. Let's make some changes. McDonnell is not having a very good game. Let's take him off and bring on Thompson. Yeats is also not having a very good game. Let's bring on Daly for him. That is all 3 substitutions now. I'm not going to bother changing things at the back because I don't think it's going to make any difference. We need to score, if anything else. Let's go very attacking. Encourage the players. 15 minutes left to play, and we need at least a goal. Scunthorpe have the ball, though, on 78 minutes. Whipped into the centre. Kurt manages to clear it, but only as far as Gilead. For Scunthorpe as he comes forward again. Ball into the centre to Hallam, who's free in space. Huddard manages to make himself big to make the save. Less than 10 minutes left to play. Let's demand more from the players. I'm not sure what else we can do. Is this going to be back-to-back losses? And that is it. Full time. Back-to-back losses on this episode is absolutely ridiculous for how well we played in the last couple of weeks. It says I can't fault your performance. It's one of those days. No, it's not. A thrash on my arms. Far from pleased. I am not giving them any praise for that performance whatsoever. We've gone from third in the table, dropped down to 8th. If we're gonna have an episode like this, I would rather it was this early on in the season rather than later in the season. But looking at the schedule now, we lost 1 game in the league this season up to this point, and we've now lost 2 on the trot. Taylor Crossdale still continuing his incredible run of scoring, but you can't tell me that Lewis and Fagan being out the side was the reason why we lost that game. Let's go into dynamics. Dynamics are starting to drop off as well. Let's have a team meeting before I go. I'm going to say, I know it's still early in the season, but our recent form position is something we need to address before it becomes a serious problem. That's a good thing to say, I think. I don't understand where you're coming from here. We're not doing too badly, are we? You've lost 2 games in a row. I mean, that wasn't the sort of reaction I was expecting. I think I've just broken everything, I think. Right. I'm going to leave it there before I do any more damage. Right, after that, I definitely need cheering up, so please give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified of brand new FM21 videos. And thank you very much for watching.